What's up guys, it's Ian here, back today with another video, and today I wanted to bring you guys a topic that I found very profound. This wasn't actually my oldest topic on my docket of topics in chronological order, but it's one of the more profound and esoteric ones, and I heard about it yesterday. I heard, let's say, a phrase yesterday that really inspired me to make this video, and I felt like I should make this video today while I'm still very motivated and while the topic is fresh. And the phrase that I heard, which I will expound upon in this video, is that hatred is a psychic force. And by extrapolation, we can also deduce that love and kindness are also psychic forces. So is appreciation. Interestingly enough, in our modern society and world, I've talked a lot about sociopathy in the past and how modern large population cities, they create all of these throwaway interactions. I'm not going to go super in depth on that here, but what's interesting is that modern society has caused us to kind of put up defensive shields. It's not so normal to go about your day-to-day life and experience kindness and love from strangers. Conversely, because we're constantly bombarded with negativity from social media and news, maybe your guys' algorithms are different than mine, but just stay with me here for a sec. Since we're constantly bombarded with those types of messages, we have the expectation that we will experience hatred and negativity in our day-to-day lives. Now, why is this important? We kind of put up a defensive barrier, maybe not we as in all of us, but we as in the royal we. Me, maybe, I don't expect kindness from strangers. It's nice when you receive it, but I live a bit in a state of hypervigilance. I'm not the calmest person. I'm constantly aware of my surroundings. It's important to be vigilant, but you don't want to be hypervigilant because it has negative physiologic effects and it can really affect your health. But I go about my day-to-day life almost expecting that I could be placed under attack, or maybe I'm placed under psychic attack. Maybe people are directing negative energy waves at me. And I don't have my show notes in front of me, but an important question that I also wanted to extrapolate upon is our perception the important thing? i.e., are we imagining these psychic attacks, or do the psychic attacks really exist? And it's possible that we could just be inventing this negativity in our mind, and a state of hypervigilance could be creating this physiologic or psychological effect upon ourselves, and that we aren't actually under psychic attack. It's also possible that we are being placed under psychic attack. Ironically, I'm wearing a Bluetooth mic. I kind of felt like I got some kind of like zap or electricity when I put it on, and it's probably not good that I have this over my heart, but maybe I should put on like a hat or something. Maybe there's a better way to wear a Bluetooth mic, or maybe I'll just get a corded mic and a mic stand soon for my future videos. Maybe a Bluetooth mic is okay used sparingly when you're walking around. But one thing that I've talked about in the past is how EMF and other stressors and environmental contaminants can potentially weaken your energetic defense field. And that can possibly affect your susceptibility to psychic attacks. And if we're to just assume for a second that there's probably more hatred and negativity flying around in these city environments than there is positivity and love, then having a weakened energy defense field means that you may be extremely susceptible to psychic attacks. And it's possible that this phenomenon that I'm describing here could actually be what hypervigilance is. it could be that, let's say, psychological health professionals and mental health professionals, they just say things like, oh, you're hypervigilant, we need to medicate that, we need to fix your psychology. But what if it is the case that the city environments have tons of hateful psychological attacks and psychic attacks flying around everywhere, and all of our energy defense fields are weakened from all the continuous EMF bombardment and toxins and contaminants that we're exposed to. And as a result of this, we think that we're hypervigilant, but maybe what we're experiencing as hypervigilance, or what we perceive as the phenomena of hypervigilance, is actually just a normal physiologic response to EMF disruption of our energy defense field and psychic attacks, right? I don't want to make it sound entirely negative here. One other really important thing that I had written on my docket, and hopefully I don't miss anything. If I do, I'll touch on it in a future video. I'll just leave those notes undeleted. But one really important concept I wanted to touch on here is the concept of shared burden. It's one thing to be receiving psychic attacks and, let's say, psychic hatred from people out in the wilderness that you don't even know. That's clearly non-beneficial. There's no real upside to that I can perceive, besides potentially hardening yourself against stressors and maybe developing resilience. But I would wager that these psychic attacks can wear you down faster than they're really helping you practice resilience, especially if you have a weakened energy defense shield. But let's get back to the concept of shared burden. It can be a good thing to share burden. You should share your positive energy with other people, and that can help heal other people and make them feel valued and cared for. But sometimes you need to share burden, and that's what a good friend will do for you. Sometimes you do need to share burden. Sometimes you need to receive burden. Sometimes you need a good friend who will receive your burdens. And this isn't always negative, because maybe you're harboring negative psychic energy, and if you hold it in, it's just gonna stay within you or get worse. Because I noticed that, like, sometimes I'll hang out with friends, and if they're going through it, like, they'll just talk to you and maybe complain to you for like 5 or 10 minutes and really use you as a shrink. And on its surface, on one hand, you might think like, oh, like, I don't want to listen to this, it's bringing me down. But on the other hand, think about it. That person might really need you, and they might need your support. They need you to help bear part of this psychic energy, right? Because if they hold in that psychic energy, maybe it's too much for them to bear, and they can't bear it alone, right? And I think that's really important. It's good to help share the load when it's available to you, but also recognize when you are becoming overburdened and maybe you can't take it without compromising your own health. Because if you're the person that everybody comes to and you're being overburdened from all of these different angles and directions, then maybe your reservoir of negative psychic energy becomes more than you can tolerate, and then you end up paying the price with potentially negative health effects, or maybe it weakens your energy defense shield and you become very sick, or something happens to you, right? You could experience negative deleterious effects. One last interesting point I wanted to touch on here is that psychotherapy and therapists probably cannot be truly empathetic individuals. Maybe they just have a really strong energy defense shield, but that by definition means that they cannot be truly empathetic. They can be sympathetic, but they can't be empathetic, because if they were empathetic and they were really feeling your negative energy and absorbing your psychic feelings of suffering and hatred, and they do this as their full-time job, they would very quickly become overburdened and become extremely sick, and I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, but maybe they'd even become suicidal, right? So therapists cannot truly be empathetic in a way where they can absorb your energy in the way that a person who has a normal empathy response or even a heightened empathy response can. And I truly believe that. I think that if you're to really absorb the energy of the person that you're interacting with and really care about them on a deep empathetic level, then you are absorbing their psychic energy, whether it's hate, love, kindness, positive, negative, any derivation of these emotions. You are really absorbing this energy. So a therapist, they can be sympathetic, but if they're really empathetic, they're not going to last long because they have too many interaction points and their reservoir is going to become too full too soon. Because nobody sees a therapist to like just talk about positivity and how great their day is. Maybe that is actually a style of therapy that you can focus on the positive, but no, really, we as individuals in the modern world, we experience negative things, and most of us have things that we'll need to get off our chest or off our mind. And it's important to have somebody to talk to, whether it's somebody in real life, probably the most effective, somebody online, or a video, somebody like, making YouTube videos. These are all valid ways to transfer some of the energy to get it off of you, metaphorically. So hopefully this video is valuable to think of. Hopefully you have somebody who you can share the energy with. Drop a comment if the topics covered in this video, if you enjoyed them. And I think I touched on all the topics that I had written in today's show notes. I read through it a few times before I hit record. Did it in a single take. But yeah, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about today's video and what you'd like to see in the next video. And once again, thank you for watching and have a good day.